Breaking news, everyone. Donald Trump is a communist. Good Lord, words like that make Joe McCarthy, Roy Cohn, and Stalin all turn over in their graves. Now that's an achievement. Welcome to Occupy Democrats. I'm David Reddish. Before I begin, I need to update you beautiful viewers on something. At the end of this week, I'll be taking some time off to undergo oral surgery. Don't worry, it's nothing life-threatening. I mention it only to let you know that the next time you see me, I might be a little swollen and bruised, or I might wear a headscarf to hide that. So if I look different, that's why. Also, if you want to help contribute to my medical and recovery fund, follow the Ko-Fi link in the description. Now, on to our story. For this breaking story, we need to take a trip back to 7th grade social studies to discuss different forms of government. The United States, for example, is a republic, a representative democracy that holds free and fair elections where citizens own property and business is the stuff of private enterprise. Compare that with China, the planet's last major communist nation. According to communist doctrine, private property is theft, economies are planned, and businesses are owned by the government. That's why the popular app TikTok is so controversial. The Chinese Communist Party owns it, and not only then has access to the data of millions of Americans, but also has free rein to manipulate its algorithms to change public opinion. See also the emphasis on Gaza as a means to sway Kamala Harris voters not to vote in 2024. That is why we need to ban the app. But I digress. Several weeks ago, Donald Trump, emblem of corporate capitalist greed, made a stunning proposal.
We've got breaking news out of the White House. Eamon Javers has that story. Sticking with chips.
That's right, Morgan. President Trump speaking to reporters in the Oval Office just now saying that Intel CEO Lip Bhutan has agreed to give the United States government 10% of the equity in his company. The Wall Street Journal reporting just a short time ago that the CEO of Intel, Lip Bhutan, is expected to be in discussions with President Trump today on this. We'll see if this is officially announced, but the president describing a scene in the Oval Office earlier, weeks ago, when Lip Bhutan came here to meet with him, saying that the two men discussed it. The president said, I think you should give us 10% of the company. And according to the president's telling, Lip Bhutan said, I'll consider that. And now saying that he has agreed. So we will see if we get an official announcement here this afternoon, Morgan. Back over to you.
Yeah, I'm seeing headlines that the government will not be on the board or play a major role in governments. Is that the expectation? Yeah. Is there also, I guess, anything in terms of being an end user? I think about the Pentagon, for example.
Yeah, that's absolutely the expectations.
Yes, Donald Trump, who attacked Kamala Harris as a communist, who won the votes of voters who accused Barack Obama of being a closet socialist, actually wants to implement communist policy in the United States. And it gets even weirder, so don't go away. Of course, in modern practice, communist regimes in China, Cuba, or the former Soviet Union tend to be more oppressive and dictatorial rather than utopian, which brings us to a wacky press conference Trump delivered earlier today. In the presser, Trump confused the names of several governors and made wild claims like how he's president of Europe. For more on that mess, see our other videos here on the channel. For the sake of this story, reporters pressed Trump on his sudden wish for the federal government to own major stakes in private businesses like Intel. Here's what he had to say.
During the campaign, you called Kamala Harris a communist, but the Biden-Harris administration, they never called for nationalizing a private company with the federal government like you're proposing with Intel. What do you say to some who say this is a bit hypocritical, and is this the new way of doing industrial policy?
Yeah, sure it is. I want to try and get as much as I can. If people come in and they need something, as an example, as a real estate person, if I have an agreement and I have any form of a stopgap where I can stop somebody from doing something, right? I have a covenant and an agreement, and they come to me and they say, would like to do something, but you have us restricted. If I do that, they usually have to pay. Now, in the case of Intel, it was interesting, but I hope I'm going to have many more cases like it. Intel came in. I met with the gentleman. I had a lot of respect for him. He came in under a little bit of a cloud. I liked his story. I thought he was good. I think he really means to do a good job with Intel. I said, I'd like to ask whether or not you'd give, because the story, a lot of people said I invested in Intel. I didn't invest, but I invest my heart in it and my soul because I want the country to be strong. But I said, I'd like you to give 10% of Intel to the United States of America. Not to me, to the United States of America. And I said, if you have them as a partner, you have the United States as a partner, I think that would be a very good thing for Intel. And he thought about it a little bit different, and he said, I like that idea very much. We have a deal.
Say what? Does this man have any clue what he's even saying there? Look, it's a bad idea for the government to own major corporate stakes. For one thing, that means taxpayer dollars will be used to float the company without getting anything back. It's like the 2008 auto bailouts on steroids. Personally, I'd rather have my tax dollars go to healthcare, infrastructure, and education. But that's just me. It also warrants mentioning that in the same press conference, Trump went to great lengths to hide his right hand. There's that awful bruise again. And notice how his veins bug out there. I'm telling you, folks, something is very wrong with this man, and not just because he doesn't know what communism is. Donald Trump is not well, and he's going to make America sick too, if not through his economic policies like tariffs, then by his banning of vaccines. Again, see our other videos for more. I still say Trump has congestive heart failure. Time will tell. Either way, he's already wearing more makeup than Vladimir Lenin's embalmed corpse. And hey, Lenin had syphilis too, so maybe that's why Trump suddenly loves communism? You tell me in the comments. This is Occupy Democrats.